We've been through a lot, and for households, for some of us, this is the first time we've seen such a situation. Pandemics don't come often, and it's really thrown budgets, no matter what budget you're on, in chaos. So many of us had to rip open our super funds to actually survive because we don't have cash accounts or a cash cushion, whatever you like to call it. The fact is, quite a lot of us were living from pay to pay. So what the pandemic did is actually expose just how vulnerable we were when it came to our finances. On a positive note, there are solutions. Sometimes they're not ideal. Sometimes they're not quick fixes. In fact, in most cases, they're not quick fixes, but they're the ones that you want to kind of grab on. The beauty about having everything online is everything is online, which can be good or bad. I like to print out my statement. I have two highlighters, two different colours. The regular household bills I highlight in one colour. All the discretionary spending I highlight in another. It's a very time-consuming thing to do, but I tell you what, that is going to give you the nudge you need to act, because you'll see all your discretionary spending, all the tap and go we have, because we're not using cash. Our digital footprint is there, and that's going to shock you. Your discretionary spending is usually what undoes a lot of budgets. Now, the other one, your household bills, what you need to do there is, once you've highlighted that, you need to ask yourself, what am I paying? And what is the best possible rate? It may not necessarily be the cheapest rate, because sometimes cheap isn't the best. You don't want the cheapest home insurance policy because it may not even cover you for what you need. Most Aussies, for the first time, picked up the phone and said, hey, I'm not happy with my interest rate on my home loan. Can you give me a better deal? Most Aussies, for the first time, had a look at their energy bill and thought, well, what does this mean? Well, we know now that it does mean an extra $1,000 or so because of these rate hikes. We have to find those savings somewhere. So for the first time, people are questioning, what's my lender charging? And the easiest thing there is that, like I always say, get on your bank's website, have a look and see, what are they advertising? Chances are they're advertising a cheaper rate to new customers compared to what you're earning. It's the good old-fashioned budget. I hate to bring that up. It sounds so boring, but it is actually really exciting when you get into it. It's a case of just listing down, how much do I earn and where is it going? And then when you realise where it's going, how can I minimise some of that, or how can I make the best of what I have? When it comes to budgets, there are so many examples out there. Some people use an envelope system. I know what's online now at the moment, a lot of people are saying, oh, payday, I rush out to the ATM, I get all my cash, I come back home and I put it in envelopes. I love that idea. It's not very safe, but I do like the idea that you've got these envelopes and you know that if you've got a spending envelope and you look at it and there's no more money in there, well, we can't spend anymore. Or maybe you want the zero budgeting method. I personally work on that. Every dollar goes somewhere. So payday happens and it gets dispersed. And the number one thing is you pay yourself first too. You treat your payment to yourself as a bill. If you don't, you're never going to do it. You're going to find some excuse why you won't pay yourself. There are lots of apps like Frollo, CanStar has a budgeting app who I work for. Your bank will have some type of budgeting app and limits and alerts. For me, what I like is some of the apps that help you with your spending and your expenses and cutting down. If you haven't downloaded a fuel app by now, you really are doing yourself a disservice. That's a no-brainer. Download that. Otherwise, you'll just stop wherever and pay whatever. And also, when it comes to fuel, stack your discounts. If you do, say, for example, use Coles discounts and you shop in the store, you can actually stack these and get up to 18 cents off. Grocery apps, there's some really good ones out there. Frugal is one, Half Price is another. So when it comes to debt, it really comes down to what makes you motivated, what gives you the excitement to pay back your debt. And there's a lot of behavioural economics behind that. So I like to kind of, with debts, list them all down, biggest to smallest, put the interest rate next to it. You can either tackle it by the most expensive interest rate, pay that off first, or I like to look at maybe the smallest debt. The reason being why I target that first is because it's achievable. I'll get a result hopefully within maybe a couple of weeks. I can cross it off my list. I feel better. So the idea is once you've listed all your debts down and put them in order from smallest to biggest, then you make just minimum repayments on all of those and then direct all your surplus to that one debt. So you really knock it off fast. Every person has their own method, but as long as you actually have those conversations with yourself, moving forward for a lot of people with their budget, it is going to be tough, but it's going to have to be the case of what's the best I can do with the income that I'm earning.